Now we have joining us on phone Hafsat Abiola Costello, a civil rights activist and executive president, Women in Africa Initiative, joining us right now. Hafsat,
and don't forget to add that she's actually the daughter of...
She's the daughter of
Abiola.
Abiola. Hafsat, good morning. It's good to have you on this morning. When you heard that your dad has been made, or MKO Abiola, let me put it that way so it can really resonate with Nigerians, was recognized and given the GCFR honors. What came to your mind first?
Nothing came to my mind. I just felt as if I was in another world. As if I'd been transported out of Nigeria, out of planet Earth. I didn't even know where I was. And I felt bad because my brother called me. I was just breaking my fast, and I was stuck somewhere because a friend had died. I was by myself somewhere, just quickly trying to break my fast. And he called me, and I just wanted to be home with my family so we could hug each other. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Yes, indeed. I feel the excitement in your voice. But do you think that this will really give closure to... is it enough to give this day, to immortalize the day June 12? Would you say that the man himself, MKO Abiola, has been immortalized? And what really would it take to truly immortalize Abiola, especially at a time when you hear from here and there that Nigeria's democracy is still very shaky?
It's still very shaky. And even with this action, it doesn't mean that all problems are solved. But for me, with this action, you are showing that you are honoring the ground upon which you stand, that you recognize the sacrifices that produce the ground upon which you stand, and that you will then be able to do more. You know, because I feel like we have been running a fraudulent form of democracy since 1999, and that was why we could not recognize the real heroes. We tried to pretend as if something else produced this democracy, which is why we went to May 29. What was May 29? Where did it come from? It was an attempt to negate the labors and the movement that produced democracy. It was almost as if it was the military effecting a coup against the democratic movement. And now to recognize that, no, this democracy is rooted in June 12th, and it's rooted in the blood and sacrifice of Nigerian people, not just MKO Abiola. Not just my mother, Kudirat. So many students, traders, politicians, so union leaders, so many were killed because they fought against the military on this issue. So many of them that we don't even know their names. And to stand on that day, then you have to be cognizant of that sacrifice, and you have to try to deliver the kind of democracy that honors sacrifice. The only kind of democracy that can honor sacrifice is a democracy that delivers. So I feel that this is an administration that is declaring to Nigerians that it is intent on delivering on the sacrifice of our leaders, of our past leaders.
Okay.
And I honor,
Hafsat, let me stay with you.
Sorry for doing that.
Yes, Hafsat, let me stay with you. Apart from the emotions that went with this issue over the years, and apart from the fact that, okay, what we demanded has been given, how will this impact on the way politics is played and the way the perspective of young politicians are going to be, especially when young people are coming on board or wanting to come on board?
So, you know, I just feel that when people enter Asirok, my father actually said it, that something happens, that there's something in the bottle of water, and then the leader, once he drinks it, it just changes. And I think that often they change in the very worst ways. They start to behave as if they feel that there's no time when they will leave Asirok. But now, with this action, President Buhari has demonstrated that to the ones that came before him, that, you know, the action they failed to take, he has now taken. So everybody should now be clear that while you are there, you're on a time, you're on a clock, and you have only so much time to deliver the results. And if you don't do it, somebody else will come after you and do it, and you will look like a clown. People will be looking at you and wondering that, but he could have done it, and why didn't he? now, no, history will always be clear on this issue. That we talked to President Obasanjo, so many people begged him. And he was like, no, I won't do. And then the third term bid failed, and he had to leave. And now we have woken up to a day when somebody else has done what was right. And it will always be to his shame that he wasn't that person. Because all the factors were there for him to be that person. It would have been an act of appreciation because you were the chief beneficiary. But thank God that even though he found that he didn't have what it takes to do the right thing, that God has given us someone that does.
You talk about the democracy that delivers, as you were speaking earlier. Your father, MKO Abiola, paid the supreme price, and not only him, your mother also, Kudirat Abiola, paid the supreme price. And Abiola stood for hope. You remember Hope 93. Do you think there is still hope?
Farewell to poverty. He promised that Nigerians would say farewell to poverty. That was his campaign platform.
Yes.
Hope 93, farewell to poverty, and we're still poor. In fact, more of us are poor than 1993. A greater proportion of Nigerians are living in absolute poverty. And so it's all a signal that we really took a wrong turn in 1999. You know, there are issues in Nigeria. We have to deal with security, most definitely. But we also have to put the country on a foundation that can have economic well-being for the generality of Nigerians, which means we have to diversify from this fixation on petroleum. We're too committed to this petroleum, and we need to restructure so that all parts of Nigeria, all parts are rich, but when they're looking at the petroleum, they don't develop their own part. And the petroleum cannot provide the jobs. The nature of the petroleum sector is that it cannot provide the jobs for Nigerian people. We need the leadership that has been courageous to recognize June 12th, to be courageous, to put the foundation for a diversified economy in Nigeria. That's really what can really honor the legacies of all the people that died.
Okay. Hafsat Abiola Costello, thank you so much for talking to us on the program this morning. I know that going forward, Nigerians are still going to react, and somehow we'll still have perspectives from here and there. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on your program.
Back to Biodun Sowunmi now, before we round off in just about 2 minutes. Going forward, how will this really impact on the way politics is played from the minds of Nigerians?
I think it's a big lesson. We all have lessons to learn from it. Apart from the lessons of Hope 93, which is the theme of Abiola's campaign, Farewell to Poverty. We still have poverty all around us. We're yet to overcome that. So Nigerians still know that, look, there's still hope. We need to battle on. You have the issue for politicians also to learn from. Those who felt, who lacked the political will to ensure that June 12th was declared National Day, Democracy Day, and also immortalize Abiola. They could not summon the political will. They have their own lessons to learn. That we only need to do the right thing. Then there's also lessons, in terms of hope for the people.
Let's put you on hold. Biodun Sowunmi. We will talk more about this development, one that really truly is more like a tsunami in Nigeria, a good tsunami at that.